Is 7 watching, 8 watching.
It's gonna grow.
Here we are.
We here?
Yeah, bring us in, buddy.
Oh man, what's up, everybody? How are we? Welcome to
Howdy.
a special joint broadcast. Howdy, howdy. This is myself, Ron Placone, and the Convo Couch crew. Craig, Pasta, Jardula, and Fiorella Isabel. Good to see y'all. We just did something over on their Twitch. Mm-hmm. We were twitching. Is that what they say?
We were twitching.
I don't know.
Baby.
I'm not that young, and I don't play games,
I
so I don't know.
I don't know, Johnny.
on,
what's it called? I don't know.
But we're doing a
Twitch.
post game. We're doing a post game for the debates. So I guess we'll take questions. Johnny, are you able to kind of rock the chat a little bit?
He doesn't have a microphone, though.
No, I know, but he can kind of feed it to us or whatever.
Yeah, you want to use my phone or?
Yeah, that works too. Okay.
Yay.
Congratulations to Ron Placone. He's hit 20,000.
Are people saying anything or? Congrats. Oh, thank you, Citrus
20,000, buddy.
Oh,
like
cool.
that.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, everybody.
Guess what? We hit 9,000 right during the thing.
Nice.
Hey,
Nice.
high five. High
High
five.
fives
High fives.
Aggressive
Johnny, high
media.
five.
Johnny, high five.
All right, here.
Johnny
So I got a
rocks.
question over here.
What's up, everybody? So, why don't we, before we start taking questions, we'll just dive into a quick, what was everybody's assessment on the debate? I'll go last because I'm going to be the most cynical.
Yes.
So we'll go, least cynical, I think, will probably be Fee. So, Fee will
Really?
go, I think so.
You think
so
Fee's going to be less cynical than me?
Yeah, I do. And
you
plus,
don't even been around this household, man.
ladies first, too.
Gotcha.
You know,
I like
kind
that.
of feel like that's proper as well. That's how I was raised.
Right there?
There you go.
Sure.
See? Okay, so honestly, I thought this debate was boring outside of Tulsi Gabbard throwing punches at Kamala Harris like nobody's done before. Nobody. And I think that was necessary. And she did what she was supposed to do, go after Kamala Harris, attack her record, her policy. She didn't get dirty or start insulting her like her and Biden were doing to each other, like Booker was doing to Biden. Biden was a punching bag, but I think Tulsi brought it home with the whole policy situation. She also talked about her issues with the Green New Deal and her own plan of why it's better with the Off Fossil Fuels Act. I thought that was great. I thought Yang brought it home towards his closing statement. I thought that since he had more time, he was able to kind of explain himself more. And he brought around the superficiality of the Democratic debates and the focus on appearance and superficial things rather than the content, and he called that out, and I thought that was awesome. So overall, I think there was a victory for the outside candidates. I think that the candidates, Inslee did decent with his climate issue. I thought that was pretty strong, but I don't feel like he has the capacity to engage people in a way that the others have. And I think Kamala Harris just lost because she had no answer when Tulsi called her out. She went directly to Biden and couldn't answer the question. So I think overall the outsiders won this debate.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. And it's not that we just love Tulsi. We do love Tulsi. I love Tulsi. You understand that. But I thought it was great the way she went after her right from the get-go. She had very little time. In fact, Joe Biden had spoke 5 times. Kamala Harris spoke 4 times before Tulsi even got a chance to speak once, before Julian Castro even got a chance to speak once, before Inslee got a chance to speak once. It was ridiculous. It's what Ron predicted. It's what we all predicted. I didn't think it was going to be that lopsided and it would be that just terrible of just time to where they're going back and forth with these two. But I think also, once again, I said something that I have to retract and I was wrong on. I said that if Tulsi had the opportunity to take a shot at Joe Biden, she would, if it's about war. They tried to pin her against Joe. She wouldn't take the bait. She wouldn't attack Joe. Why? Because everybody else did, and they're going to look like a bunch of bullies. And I'm telling you this, the person who pointed it out to us on YouTube made a very valid point. The more you yell at the Joe Biden supporters and you tell them that they're wrong for doing what they do, they don't budge. They stand their ground. She's kind of reached out with an olive branch to the supporters when Uncle Joe goes away, and Uncle Joe will get away. He even had a time in the speech when he was speaking, he said, oh, never mind, and anyways, it was like a voice in his head told him, Joe,
Yeah,
You're rambling.
He cuts himself
Shut
off.
up.
He's the only one that does that. He'll be like, yeah, my time's up. You're right, Joe. Yeah, the time
Stream of
is up.
consciousness.
He looked unstable today. And I just want to wrap it up real quick. He looked unstable. I think Yang making an improvement, like we said before, but not as much as an improvement as Marianne Williamson did yesterday. He had a great closing. He might be around for another debate because he'll pick up some donors. But aside from that, I think it's time for a lot of people to go away. Enough is enough. I mean, everybody looked bad up there tonight. Even Booker looked bad. Biden went after a couple
You're saying
people.
like that's
yeah.
Even Booker?
Well,
Cory Booker doesn't even know he's running for president.
Yes.
He remembers the night before a debate.
Yes.
That he's running for. Someone woke him up this morning and he was like, "Oh, there was a debate last night. Am
Yes.
I still in the? Yes, you're
You're still in the race.
Oh,
Yes.
I better get. He was so unprepared.
Yes.
His closing statement reminded me of like a new comedian who gets booked for their first paid show and they're not ready for it and they stall because they run out of material before their set is up. That's what Cory Booker sounded like up there tonight. He stalled during his closing statement. So did Joe Biden because Joe Biden's completely clueless. I don't share your guys' enthusiasm on a lot of things. First of all, I would never use the word love to describe how I feel towards a politician. I like Tulsi. I like Bernie. I would not use the word love for either one of them.
Love for both.
I never will. I never will.
I
If
will.
I ever do, somebody hold me accountable for it because I never will.
Love
I'm an
them.
outsider. If I'm ever anything less, somebody have an intervention. But I was disappointed with Tulsi's closing statement. I wanted better from
don't know
her.
why.
I hold her to a higher standard than everybody else on that
makes
stage.
sense. That's fair.
I expect better from
That is
her
the
because she's the strongest candidate out of
Yeah,
them.
but that was one of the most important issues that's never talked about.
It was
and
it
it's
was
very serious, and
it
that's
was
going to play
very
well in
one-sided.
social media.
I didn't say it was bad. It just was not her strongest. It was kind of one-sided, one-dimensional. She stayed on the one topic too much, and I wanted a stronger, more encompassing closing statement
that
from her.
makes sense.
And I know
like
she's
that.
capable of giving one.
Yeah, I mean,
know
I-
she's capable
I
of giving-
agree.
If that statement came from Joe Biden, I'd be like, wow, Joe Biden had a decent closing statement.
You're right.
But I have
You're
a
right.
higher bar for Tulsi Gabbard.
She should have covered
as,
more ground.
As people
You're
should.
right.
I agree with what Fee said about how Kamala Harris could not hold those criticisms. She could not respond to Tulsi's criticisms. What's a big bummer, and this isn't Tulsi Gabbard's fault or anyone's fault except for the corporate media and the powers that be, Kamala Harris will have no price to pay for that. She just deflected back on Biden. Nobody held her accountable. If there was a moderator worth the salt, they would have been like, wait, Kamala Harris, respond to Tulsi Gabbard's criticisms.
Yeah.
She couldn't.
She
Every
didn't even say
time
her
Tulsi
name.
Gabbard had a legit criticism, oh, well, Biden's worse than me. That's all she had.
The second
it was
time,
Biden's
though.
worse than me and Trump's bad. That's all she had, and she'll have no price to pay for it, unfortunately. Amidst the blogosphere and shows like these, people who already know that Kamala Harris is a total phony, we see through it. But as far as like mainstream America, I think sadly there won't be a price to pay for that. At the end there, I think Joe Biden... Was he trying to plug a website but then accidentally gave away his landline? Is that what he did there? Like, what did he... What did he
Such
do?
a
Does
wrong
anyone
comment.
know what that was? I
Hey,
think that's what
a
he
bunch
did.
of malarkey.
By the way, last debate, Joe Biden's rare moment of honesty was when he said, "Hey, my time's up." His rare moment of honesty this time was when he said, "I don't know what's happening." That was
Can we get a
oh,
dolphin?
by the way, I like these little Hey, Michael Bennett, Trump's bad. Yeah, Trump sure is bad. Jay Inslee. Yeah, Trump sure is bad. Biden, Trump's bad. We all agree Trump's bad. Let's outlaw any and all bromances for the debates. Okay, let's
Seriously.
outlaw all of them. It just looks like a plutocrat circle jerk. I'm sick of it. I don't want to see
Nice.
it. I think that he said TTP on purpose.
He did.
So that he doesn't actually have to say he's opposed to the TPP when he isn't. Cory Booker, first useless Russia mention of the night. Cory Booker owned it with the first useless Russia mention of the night. And I want to just repeat this one. Joe Biden talking about Obama picking him is like listening to a 35-year-old talk about how they were the prom king. Julian Castro, good call using Flint as a bragging moment. Hey, I helped out Flint. Oh, the place that still doesn't have clean water. You gave them the filters that did absolutely nothing. Good job, Julian Castro. I guess you're not so good at a debate when you don't have Beto O'Rourke to beat up on. I didn't know there was a meal included in the debates tonight, but Kamala Harris got served.
Yep, she
You got some
did.
super chats, homie.
All right, so
By the way, you know that Joe Biden did mention the ex-president's name 5 times tonight, or mentioned about Obama 5 times. The over/under was 4.5. I took it.
oh really?
Yeah, he did.
And it was 5.
Yes.
All right, so thank you guys for your super chat contributions. We got one from Dan here. Ouch! You know, it's acknowledged that Kamala Harris had to be exposed, but also feel bad for her. That was intense, and it will affect her image and eligibility. I do not feel bad for
Neither
her,
do
and
I.
I hope you're right. Dan goes on to say, I disagree with Ron. Well, Dan, you're canceled. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Dan. I disagree with Ron. I think this was so bad that Kamala will suffer for it. Mainstream be damned. I hope you're right. I mean, totally. I hope you're right and I'm wrong on that one, and I hope she does. And again, I think throughout the blogosphere, yes, there will be a price to pay. But as far as the mainstream media is concerned, or the corporate media is what I like to call it, as far as they're concerned, and as far as the donor class is concerned, Kamala is the anointed one. And when I'm saying like she has no price to pay, that's more who I'm referring to. I think in that circle, she'll have no price to pay. Amidst the grassroots, she'll have a price to pay, but the grassroots already sees through her.
Right.
You know, so that's why I'm saying, like, overall, she won't really have a price to pay. All right. This is, okay, I'm having a hard time doing it from the phone. I'm just trying to highlight the super chat. Can you? Oh, thank you. Balthazar, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. I hate how de Blase.
Hey, Balthazar.
He did that on purpose.
So what, de Blase?
Balthazar is a poet, and I hope Balthazar knows it. But Balthazar's a poet. Balthazar, you're a poet. If you don't know it, you know it now. You're a poet. I hate how de Blase seems to be saying a lot of really good things because he'll never follow through. His script should have been given to Bernie. I like that, Balthazar. I don't think de Blasio needs, or I don't think Bernie needs de Blasio's script, though. I think Bernie's fine. And I think de Blasio's done. De Blasio is done. And I think, Kirsten Gillibrand, I'm not a huge Gillibrand fan, but Kristen Gillibrand, she ended it for de Blasio, so kudos to her for that.
I feel like he did the worst.
But she also got called out herself. Like, that's when I disagree with you, Fiorella, that she made any leeway whatsoever, and I don't care about her virtue signaling as far as I'm concerned, because I want to see policy attached to those reasons why we have these racial injustices.
But you don't think her dunk on de Blasio was
was great, but then she got really abused too by Joe Biden, and I don't want to leave that out. She's like, I don't understand what you're doing, but you came with me to Syracuse, now all of a sudden you're changing your tone, and the only thing I can think is different is that you're running for president.
That's great by Joe Biden, but at the same time, it's going to be looked on as like this, this guy trying to capitulate on this woman.
Did you know who won the last election?
So
Donald Trump.
Do you know who won the last election?
Yeah.
I said the majority of those people, they're not going to say, oh, he was just picking on her. He was just calling her out, and she's going to look more like a hypocrite in my mind than he looks bad for just going after her, because he even said it plain and simple. I guess if you're looking at
old white men.
I don't think. I don't think so, because I think that Biden said that and okay, but people just be like, yeah, she went along with stuff Obama was doing, just like everybody else, just like Joe Biden did. I don't think that was a good or bad moment for Biden. I think it was just kind of there.
I think it was a bad moment for her. That's what I'm saying. But that's just me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but yeah.
Well, what's the audience say? What do you think?
What are people saying?
Biden or Gillibrand in the exchange when he said that went to Syracuse?
Can we see the chat on this?
I got it right here.
I have breaking news though that Tulsi Gabbard is the #1 Googled candidate in all states.
No, she's not.
She again? Is. I tweeted about it. Yeah.
That's twice in a row.
Yeah.
Good for her.
So a lot of people who were, dismissing her, there you go. Yet again, she's an outsider, but she's making her rounds because she seems very logical to a lot of people who aren't even Democrats. That's the thing that a lot of these Democrats are dismissing. Like, she seems like someone that can understand and bring people together, whether they're Republicans, Libertarians, Independents, or Democrats. And I think that's something she can use to her strength. And frankly, I think if the Bernie Sanders campaign were smart, they would align themselves more with her than Elizabeth Warren, because she could actually win the general with someone like Bernie instead of someone like Elizabeth Warren, who the southern states, the southern people, and the Midwesterners hate, and they equate to Hillary Clinton.
All right, I still think Bernie Tulsi's the best ticket we can
absolutely
hope for.
100%.
And they both have flaws. They both have made mistakes. They
absolutely.
both. I feel like their flaws complement each other well. I feel like where Tulsi is kind of weak, Bernie is stronger in that area, and vice versa. Where Bernie's a little weaker, Tulsi's a little stronger. So, I think that's the best ticket we can hope for still, and I'm hoping for it. And I think she definitely had some good moments tonight. Don't get me wrong. I was disappointed by her closer.
Yeah.
But she still had some strong moments. And, again, she fought for all of them. And, again, she was the only person that got gotcha questions. Was there any other gotcha questions?
That was the
I think
gotcha question.
Biden might have gotten one or two. To be fair here, Biden did get one or two.
But he also got like a million minutes.
A million minutes and a million songs.
He also got attacked by everybody.
The rules did not apply to Kamala Harris, by the way.
Oh,
did you notice that? They did not apply to her.
This is important. She got to keep
speaking. They did not apply to her.
Yeah.
Not at
Eventually, when it got to the point where it got uncomfortable, where they're like, if we don't cut her off, people are going to start like complaining, they would say, okay, Senator, but they didn't actually stop her.
Yeah.
Balthazar, thank you very much for the other super chat. Build a brand workshop. I got 3 corporate bears. It's poetry.
You know what?
The
Going back
poetry.
to what we also talked about, because we do have to watch out for like when certain people attack other candidates, and that's the beautiful thing about Tulsi Gabbard as pertaining to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders doesn't have to go after certain people as we go down the road when this whole field shrinks. Okay, because Tulsi Gabbard will be able to go after certain people that Bernie might be frowned upon. What we're talking about right now, what we talked about before, it could be frowned upon. Joe Biden going after Kristen Gillibrand. We have Tulsi to get out there and do that. And what she did to Kamala today, it's like Bernie don't even have to go after Kamala because Tulsi's going to do that work. And I think it was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Super chat.
Scripts to clips for series and flicks. Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Thanks for the Twitch show tonight. No way I could have put up with the CNN debate without you all. We had fun.
Thank
right?
you guys.
That was fun.
I'm sorry we had to talk, but that's
Exactly.
how they
We have
they
to
do
talk.
it.
We have to
They
talk
shut
during
us
it,
down
or they shut
yesterday.
us down.
Yeah.
And by the way, can we talk about what that really is for a second? This is the corporate media's, and we talked about this on the Jimmy Dore show today. This is the corporate media's last-ditch effort to have some kind of relevance in the world. And what they're doing is they're taking something that should be publicly available, presidential debates,
Public domain.
and they're making it their property as a corporation, and they're trying to silence other people from sharing and disseminating it. If you needed any more evidence that our media structure is toxic beyond repair and that all they care about are profits, what more evidence do you need? I mean, there's a million pieces of evidence every day, but what more evidence do you need than the fact that they just shut down people from streaming a presidential debate. Deciding, I don't know, the next leader of the free freaking world.
I said
so
that.
CNN,
Yeah.
this is their last ditch because they know they're a Titanic. The corporate media is a Titanic. It's sinking slowly, but it's sinking nonetheless.
Yeah.
And these little efforts to have their Super Bowl moments, what I mean by that is a big spike in their ratings that lets them float for the rest of the year. That's what they try to get with debates like these. So they're holding on to it as desperately as they can. And thank you and thank everyone else for tuning into shows like this because you're helping sink the Titanic, and that's what needs to happen.
The unsinkable ship is sinking, and they don't want it, and they're grasping onto the very few lifeboats that they have to save themselves, but it's the ship's still going to sink, and that's why we're here. And the fact that we were one of the we were like the most. We had 6,000 people viewing
In the first
our
10 minutes,
stream in
yeah.
the first 10 minutes only on that YouTube channel. We were also streaming on Facebook.
We had
We
500.
were also streaming, and we were on multiple channels. And then we were, the fact that they completely singled us out when other people were still streaming, they let them do while we were doing the same thing. It was because we had more people that were actually viewing our stream. That's what they care about. They can say, it's not right. They can talk about copyright infringement, but really it's because they don't want us taking away their viewership from their money that they're making.
And you see this right here, corporate free coverage. This is what it's all about. We put this out there. There's two flip sides to this. The good part about getting shut down yesterday is that we got to go on Twitch today, got to go on Twitter, got to go on Periscope, got to go on to new formats, new platforms, and really get out there because it says something. After I dried my tears yesterday, we picked our heads back up. I had some talks. Graham Elwood, he gave me a big talk and
Never heard of him.
Never heard of the guy. You should go on tour with him. Comment.
No, Graham's awesome. By the way,
would do
we'll when you're done, we'll plug our next tour dates.
Please do. But after that conversation, we picked our heads up and we came on these platforms. But the negative part about what they did too, and I'm not going to harp on this, but they shut down our momentum. And that was what their whole point is. They're never going to be accountable for what they did, the money they cost us, the momentum they cost us. Like I said, we had 6,000. We would have probably had 20,000 people, I would have guessed yesterday. It was pouring in that fast, and they shut it down. And then they don't give you the rhyme or the reason why they do it. They say you have to go to copyright school, and then you kind of contest it, but you don't get any answers, and then we don't get your feedback. So
I
they
took a
shut
law
down the
class.
momentum.
Yeah, I took a law class over 10
me
years
too.
ago at this point. And one of the themes that you're taught very early on is the concept of fair use.
Absolutely.
And fair use means if something is out there and then you engage in criticism on it or commentary, that constitutes fair use, especially when it's something that has an educational component like, I don't know, a presidential election.
Yes.
What's really criminal here is that the corporate media can hold debates hostage. That's what's really criminal. And by the way, in a lot of other countries, something like that would be illegal.
Yeah.
In this country, it's smiled upon. In a lot of other countries, something like that would be illegal. Pasta.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Graham Elwood and myself, since Graham got brought up here, Graham Elwood and myself, we got some tour dates coming up. September, we're
Nice.
coming to Northern Plains. Nebraska, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Iowa City. We're coming in September. Grab your tickets at romplicone.com. In Australia, we tweeted today, we got tickets available for Perth, and we got tickets available for Adelaide. Those aren't the only dates we're doing. Some of you have been tweeting
You're going
me.
to Australia?
We're touring. Yes, Pasta.
Yeah,
We're touring Australia.
Get
No
with the program.
way.
Welcome to the party, bro.
Wow.
We're
David Harris, you hearing this stuff?
You just
This guy.
figure this out.
We're
I mean,
touring
I've known this
Australia.
for weeks.
We're touring Australia, Perth, and Perth and Adelaide. Tickets are available now, but that's not all we're
gonna
going.
go in
People have been
Ron's
tweeting
suitcase.
me. They've been emailing me. What about Melbourne? What about Sydney? It's coming. Those are just the dates that we have solidified right now, but we are about to solidify Melbourne and Sydney as well. So hold tight. All tickets will be available. Tickets for Adelaide and Perth are available now, and you can go to romplicone.com for those. So P. Pirate is kind of with you, Pasta. P. Pirate says, Gillibrand was making good points until she attacked Joe. He was prepared for that attack.
He was waiting
And the moderators helped bail him
He was
out
prepared,
after he
yeah.
danced around her question.
Yeah.
I
mean, in our clan, that is not a great thing. You got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Where we're at, not my personal beliefs, but in the open general field of the independents and stuff, it's just going to look bad upon her that she was being hypocritical, because that's what people hate more than anything. They feel that the Democratic Party is so hypocritical, that these attacks are just not going to look good.
Castillo West, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Hope to see you again soon, by the way.
Balthazar
Placone 2020. I can't speak for Balthazar, but not for me. Running for office, not my thing. Our Revolution MSU, nice to hear from you, and thank you very much. They say congrats on 20K subs, Ron. That's very kind of you. Thank you very, very much for that.
Awesome.
We're almost
Yeah.
I hope everybody, let's see.
We were singing some Bon Jovi. Oh, we're halfway there.
Whoa!
Oh, wait, they might demonetize you at YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
Hold on,
that's
sorry.
right. I think
They might demonetize you for that, and they've done that before to my
Really?
friends.
For
Yes.
karaoke?
Singing a
For
song, like-
that, my friends at Trilogy Media
No
have to watch out.
way.
I'm
You know what's
telling
funny?
you.
I do a song of the day on Get Your News On with Ron, and I was thinking, I think if I play and I was just talking about it, I never actually did it, but I was like, I think if I just play 13 seconds of the song, technically I can do that. I'm probably not going to, but I think technically I can. And I got a tweet from Joe Sakata, my editor, and he was just like, don't do it. He's like,
Yep.
don't take the chance. I was like, I wasn't actually. He was like, don't. I was like, yeah, I'm not.
Joey
not.
Yakuza's right. Yes.
Joey Yakuza.
No, I know. He's totally right.
My boy. I love you, Joey Sakata.
Yeah,
I hope you're
Joey
on there. If
Sakata's
he's
awesome.
out there, I miss you.
We
You got to
miss
come
you,
and
Joey.
sing out.
Best editor.
Come hang
Best
out.
editor in the business.
He's awesome. Well, he's up. I don't know if he's the best, though.
That's right. Yeah, no.
We have-
I know
we
a
have
guy.
Everybody's
you know
the
what I'm
best.
saying?
Everybody-
There's a salty man on this chair.
Johnny is also the best. Arno is also
Well,
the
we
best.
just lost your feed
And
on YouTube,
Joseph-
Ron. What happened?
And Joseph
Who's
is
the
also.
best?
There's multiple bests. There's not one best.
Correction.
There's-
Hold on, Ron, for that
They're
answer.
all really young and really wise beyond their years.
I am the participation trophy giver of bests,
Yes.
and it's Joseph, Johnny,
Yes.
Arno. They all get the best. They
Yes.
all
You know
get
what's
the
great
best.
about all of them too? They're all in the game. They're all their minds into
I thought you were
they're
gonna
in
say-
the movement.
I thought you were going to say they're all in their 20s. And I was
Yeah,
like, you don't
they're
need
all,
to,
like,
you don't
really
need to
They're all,
talk
in the,
about
they're all in
this.
the movement.
Why
they
is that
understand what's
important,
going on.
Pasta?
They're all fans.
I've been
of the
27 for years.
They're
now.
not just
It's not-
editors. They're
a
not like
good
that guy
number,
Anthony that used to work
27.
for us. They're all involved in the movement. They all got
Someone-
knowledge.
Are there audio issues? Is anyone having? So someone in the chat mentioned audio issues. Is anyone else?
Oh,
Is anyone having audio issues?
nope.
I think we're here.
Speak to
I
us.
think
I think we're here.
Speak
hello,
to
hello.
us.
Maybe it's the internet.
Houston. Do we have a problem? I was just in Houston a couple months ago. By the way, they do have some
Not my
problems out
favorite
there.
place,
They have some.
but yeah.
They have some oil refineries built around parks and people's houses because the people
But
refuse to
Beto.
sell their property. Beto, he's gonna stand on something, stand for nothing. What a train wreck he was. Good. nice yawn pasta.
Beto,
That was
huh?
epic. That was
Yeah.
epic. Beto is.
Beto.
I think he's done, but
Yeah.
he's not going to drop out. I mean, he still has
He
the cash
should.
flowing, but he really should. He did you see that there was the Daily Coast poll, and I'm sure they were not happy about this, but Bernie Sanders won
Oh,
their poll. Bernie Sanders won their poll. Elizabeth Warren, and it was like 50 some was Bernie. Warren had about 30 some.
yeah.
And then everybody else was single digits, and the one that was next there was the Pete Buttigieg. He had like 7.
Like I said,
And
he's
then-
gonna.
Booed.
He's gonna
yeah,
get
but
some of
he's
that
not
money.
enough to. It's not enough to prop him up. I mean, it's honestly
Not
coming
yet.
down to Warren,
He's
Kamala,
got some Wall Street dinners.
Yeah,
he's good.
Warren, Kamala, and Biden.
Buttigieg's going to be in it. He's going to be in it.
Far, yes, but he's not like a main
Not right
threat
now.
to Bernie Sanders.
Not right now.
No, he's not a main threat to Bernie Sanders, period.
Well, listen, I just
Submit
say
your
I think
thoughts
he's
and
going to be a
questions
threat
about
down
the
the road.
debates, by the way.
I don't think so.
What do you mean by that? Like, what do you when you say?
I think he's going to continue to build momentum,
no.
and a lot of people in the
But
mainstream
he
are going to
has
go
very
towards
little
him.
now. He hasn't built any. He's just kind of diminished
Because there's
some. But
so many people
he's
there. When
throwing
some of
more
these
money on it.
establishment candidates drop out, where do they go? I see a lot of them going to Pete Buttigieg.
He's a mayor of Indiana, Pasta, and he's been like thrown like around because of his mishandling of the race situation and the economic situation where he lives.
Absolutely.
There's no way he's gonna get anything higher than that. It'd be like Garcetti running.
He's
and
like Bill de Blasio in many ways. They're just dead in the water because they have tons of baggage from their own city.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a ton of baggage like de Blasio.
Oh,
and some
he
of the
does.
other
No, that
guys.
he
No,
didn't
he's got
fire.
some
He didn't fire the
baggage.
chief. He didn't have.
Well,
Well,
that was from the last
He hasn't been
thing.
around as long.
Listen, that's the thing that makes this guy unsafe in my mind, and the threat is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of baggage. He has some.
I think he does have a lot.
Well,
of baggage.
he has a lot from what we're
you not watch
looking
my
at.
video?
I watched your video. That's why I'm scared about Pete Buttigieg more than anybody, because he reminds me of Obama. He never talks policy. He always talks platitudes.
You just
He can
described all of
speak
them.
well.
though. You described everybody. You described Beto. You described de Blasio.
But for some reason, he takes well. A lot of people,
He
I don't know
does.
what it is.
I'm not
I mean,
saying he doesn't
that's
take
fair.
well.
I'm just
That's a
saying,
fair
guys, he just takes well, and the fact that he is a gay man that plays well with the social justice warriors and the progressives with the bleeding heart that want to get behind somebody like that. So, I mean, it's just one of those situations that I think in the long run, when a lot of these progressive candidates, not progressive, excuse me,
What do you
these
guys
establishment candidates drop out, they will go to Pete Buttigieg. They're not going to go to Kamala. A lot of them won't. I don't think so. And we will see down the road. I said he will be one of the final five. Pete Buttigieg. My opinion.
Maybe final five.
Final five.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe, but as
I
far
call
as
him Buttigieg.
As far as an
he-
actual threat,
is
no.
he the anointed one? No,
Not
I
yet.
think tonight
No.
proves. And by the way, I
He's
said
not.
this morning. I said it's going to be the Kamala Harris show.
Yep.
And it's going to be Joe Biden's last chance. They're going to see if Joe Biden hangs himself again, basically.
Which he kinda
And if he
did.
does, all that establishment momentum's going straight to Kamala Harris.
Whoa.
That's exactly what happened.
Yesterday
the rules
with
did not
Warren-
apply to Kamala Harris. They did not cut her off at all. They set her up for everything. They started talking about her scam healthcare plan, which, by the way, she's calling it Medicare for All. It's not Medicare for All.
Access.
It keeps the employers at the table. It keeps the for-profit insurance industry at the table. It's basically a public option plus. That's what her
Yep.
plan is. It's a public option with a little more bells and whistles. Is it better than the Romney care we have now? Yeah, it's probably a little better than that. Instead of 30 million people uninsured, maybe we're going to get that number down to 20.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 20. Maybe a little bit less people will die from lack of health care coverage in the richest country in the world. Maybe
But
we'll
in
whittle that
10
number down a
years.
little bit. In 10 years, and they're going to keep employer. So basically what it really is, because after that 10 years, you know what's going to happen after that 10 years? The status quo will still be in place.
Yep.
And employer-based insurance will still be the way of the land. And for-profit insurance companies will still be the way of the land. Kamala Harris's plan is she's literally selling fake Rolexes compared to Bernie, who has the actual real Rolex.
And
with
not
Medicare
only
for
that,
All.
it's gonna
But she's
make-
calling it Medicare.
It's
going
going
to
to make Medicare for all look bad because it's going to fail because it's not going to be enough. And so it's going to make Medicare for all look bad. So even if she were to win the presidency and all of that, it would just make that kind of policy, that kind of socialist, democratic socialist type of progressive policy, they would equate it to
Yeah.
Bernie and they would say that's horrible and the pendulum would swing all the way right. That's
Right.
why we can't have those half measures like that because it's going to eventually down the line hurt us
We'll
more.
pay for it. Well, it's just like, hey, 8 years of Obama, where he you know
Right.
flaked on pretty much everything, enacted Reagan-esque policies. So a lot of people throughout the country thought, gee, we just had 8 years of progressive socialist policies, and my life didn't get any better. I'll see what this snake oil salesman named Trump's selling.
Yeah.
Right.
We have
And
some
he sold
breaking
them
news,
snake
by the way,
oil.
guys. Joe Biden is in stable condition with a glass of warm milk and 2 oatmeal raisin cookies.
You're
Okay.
so
You have a super chat.
We have a
there.
super
He's in
chat.
stable
Thank you for
condition. It's
that.
okay. He's got the warm milk and the cookies.
Thank you for the super chat, Panda Stratton. I think Kamala is the anointed one. I agree.
Absolutely.
Joe Biden is chum in the water for her to destroy, then act
Uh-huh.
like she killed the establishment.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's what they
Thank
set the
Early,
stage
guys.
for.
You see what I
That's
see.
what they said
Early,
the stage
guys.
We
It's a
see it.
marathon,
No,
not
it's
a
still
race.
early.
No, that's what
that
it
could
is.
change, but right now she's the anointed one. Could that change between now and when the primary's over? Of course. But right now, she is the anointed one,
the anointed
and it's
one.
going to take a
She's
lot.
the
for that
hot
to
one
shift.
early. A little bit early.
No.
just
Pause
did
that.
early.
Let's be real. What happened with Warren was to make her look like the rational one within all the centrists. What happened with Kamala today was to make her look like the rational one with against Joe Biden. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get all of us to settle for the progressives, Kamala and Warren. So we can go and say, okay, well, Bernie might have been cheated. Whatever, we're at least going to take Warren because at least she's not that bad. That's what they want you to do right now. This is what they're prepping you to do, and we need to be aware of that.
Yeah, I think that with Warren, she is the biggest threat because she can really legitimately pull away. And there's some progressives out there that are still kind of pushing this narrative that she's just as progressive as Bernie Sanders. No, she is horrible on foreign policy.
It also depends on what she says by the week, too.
It does. She flip-flops more than anybody.
She
not more than
sways
anybody.
and goes back and forth so
That is
much
true.
that
Kamala
if you really
wins.
watch her,
Kamala's
you'll
bad,
get dizzy
too.
real quick.
So is Booker. But she does have some good things that a lot of people got to get up on. I believe she's the only one. Tulsi Gabbard is planning to enact some legislation or a bill, hopefully, that talks about breaking up these tech giants. Elizabeth Warren's out in front with that one right now. Now, we can't trust her word anyways and stuff like that, but we got to get on this. We're talking about the censorship and what we're doing here today and why we got shut down yesterday to kill our momentum because YouTube did what they wanted to do, but they don't have to pay any price, and they really are infringing on our First Amendment rights. So somebody has to get up to play when it comes to going after big tech.
These institutions need to be utilities at this point. And what it is
100%
that
agree, Ron.
Technology has passed up the law. The law has not caught up to technology yet. So Facebook needs to be a utility. Twitter needs to be a utility. YouTube needs to be a utility. Google needs to be a utility. And there needs to be transparency and accountability. And you know what this all bleeds into is facial recognition. Go to banfacialrecognition.com. Sign the petition to ban facial recognition. 3 cities have already done it. Sign that petition. Banfacialrecognition.com. Do it. Fight for the future. Doing the Lord's work.
The
Electoral
Lord's work, like
politics
Kamala
can
said.
be really, really frustrating. So here's something you can do on the ground. Sign this petition and tell your lawmakers we need to ban facial recognition. All right. So
You know, when the facial recognition got my face, it said, "Oh, what a beautiful chubby man." So I like facial recognition.
Oh, jeez.
Angie C. Kamala is the most dangerous. I agree.
She is the most dangerous.
You think she's the most
You
dangerous?
just said Warren was.
Yeah, you did just say Warren a couple minutes ago.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me get this right. No,
You're not going to plug a landline,
Buttigieg is
are
the
you?
one we got to watch out for, that he can come around in the late
Are
stages.
you having a Biden moment?
Yeah, that's what it feels
Warren
like.
is the most dangerous to purge votes away from Bernie Sanders.
All right. So let's.
The most dangerous candidate overall, who I do not want in office, the one I like the least, Kamala Harris.
But that doesn't
Okay.
equate.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's not the same thing.
As what? That's
So-
my personal opinion. I said the most dangerous candidate is Kamala. The one who could purge votes away from Bernie, and we have to watch and we have to stop and change this narrative, is Elizabeth Warren. And then the late run's the one who's going to come on, I think, and get a lot of that money down the road, is Pete Buttigieg.
All right.
Very clear
Fair
in my
enough.
statements.
Okay. All
Well,
right,
to me,
all
the
right.
most dangerous person is the person that can defeat Bernie Sanders, because that is the person that is going to eventually.
You are a
make
beautiful
Donald
chubby
Trump
man,
win.
Pasta, says
Thank you.
Microsoft Word technical support.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So it's just an automated response from tech
Oh,
support.
nice.
But they still think you're a
Also,
beautiful
they
chubby
think-
man.
Yeah, here we go.
See,
Thank you, tech support.
I don't think that Elizabeth Warren could beat Bernie Sanders, but she can take away enough votes that somebody else can beat.
I think
That's what
anybody
I'm
can
thinking.
cheat Bernie Sanders, and that's
Yeah,
what they're going to try to
exactly.
do.
Yeah.
And
That's exactly what they're going to try to
Yeah.
do. And so I think to answer that question, who is the most threatening, I'm going to go with Kamala Harris because I think on every level she is the establishment's
her.
anointed one. I don't think any of them could beat Bernie in a fair fight, but it's not going to be a fair fight. So it's who is the anointed one. Right now, Kamala Harris is the anointed one. Pete Buttigieg, is he going to get more money? Sure he is. Is it going to do anything? It's going to do some. It's not going to do enough. Look at John Delaney. John Delaney is funneling millions into his campaign, and he gets his ass handed to him on Twitter daily by a comedian who streams a show from his living room. So, there's only so much.
Who's that?
Ron
Okay.
Placone and others. It's not just me. It's
So-
There's a guy in his garage. There's guys in their basements.
Bourgeois alien tweets a photo of her cat. She tweets a photo of her cat, and she says, "My cat's gonna get more likes than you." 100% of the time, the cat does.
So I'm going to go on a different thing and say I think the most dangerous person to Bernie Sanders is Elizabeth Warren, because she is parading like she is like him when she isn't. So she is going to siphon votes away from him eventually, and it's going to give an acceptance to people to go vote for her instead of him. So I think technically she is the most dangerous one. I think the establishment chosen one, however, is Kamala Harris. So I am in agreement with them, but I think those two together are what they're aiming for with
Kamala
Biden
and Warren.
Yes.
Ooh, that's an interesting angle.
I've seen the Instagram posts between them together.
Okay.
I've seen both AOC work with
I was about to say
Elizabeth
something about
Warren
that.
and Kamala Harris. Now propping her up with the Green New Deal, which Kamala Harris, it's not even a Green New Deal, it's something else. She changed the name to something else. So, like, honestly, like, they're trying to make them
She thought
the
Green New
acceptable
Deal
thing.
meant the color she was going to change jumpsuits to in jails.
Green
That
is the
was-
new
Green
black.
jumpsuits,
She's like, yeah, we
guys.
can have more.
Green is the new
we'll
black.
put more people in prison while we do it. That sounds fun. That's
So
that's
listen.
interesting. So I kind of thought there was a little bit of a buzz, and this was after the first. I kind of thought Booker and Warren,
Yeah.
my team, because Booker is laying so low. You really feel like I'm serious. Like, I don't think he knows he's running for president. He's laying so low. But when he talks, it's like he's kind of likable, whatever. I mean, you know, people that pay
Yeah.
attention see through him because they know how many things
Yeah.
they know what he did to Bernie's drug bill. They know he's not a good candidate.
Is that why he was heckled, do you think?
Huh?
Let's talk about that. We didn't talk about the heckling.
Why was he heckled?
Yeah, because
don't know.
I made the distinction that the fact that he voted against Bernie's bill for lowering drug prices, subscription prices, and in Detroit is a common area where they take buses over into Canada to get that medication and come back. In fact, Bernie, I think he just did it recently, and he did that trip almost 20 years ago to prove a point. This is how long this guy's been fighting for the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that it was them who were kind of like those people maybe debating, who were protesting. Who else got protested? Was it Joe Biden at one point? He got
Joe Biden.
protested too as well.
Yeah.
I love the people of Detroit. They really spoke up today.
Oh, I've always
I
loved
love
Detroit.
that. I got to
Yeah.
get to Detroit. I haven't been there in a long time.
Lots of
wow.
love. Which, by the way, Progressive Comedy Tour. We're coming to Detroit
Oh.
we're coming to Detroit probably either in May, maybe July. Probably
Nice.
May, maybe July. But we're coming to Detroit.
You know
That's
where you
for
should
damn
go?
sure.
You maybe should think about going to Australia. That would be a spot to go to on the tour.
Romplacone.com. Funny.
Check it
Australia
out.
tickets are available now. So before we wrap up here, and we're gonna wrap up.
Yes. Are we going for a placone?
Why don't we go for the rankings? How do you rank everybody? So let's do everybody do
Oh,
your
God.
rankings.
Okay.
You don't have to go through every single, but just kind of like the highlights. Who was the top? Who was the bottom?
For the debate or just right now, our rankings of where they stand right now?
No, for the debate. Let's
For this
keep
debate.
the
Tonight
debate
only?
Tonight only.
For
yeah.
tonight.
Let's make it debate specific.
Because I wanted to start for I was going to take about 22 minutes to go through my whole theory, but I'll just go for
Yeah,
tonight.
do that.
I was going to point out one last
text
time.
me the rest. Text me
Gotcha,
the
I will text you
extended
the rest.
version. Shout out to our super chat real quick.
Larry Messer. Love
Shout
you.
out to Rocky Bellinger, who I think attended the debates, and he's a huge supporter of the Convo Couch and Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
So shout out to Rocky Bellinger.
We love you, Rocky B. So top tonight, of course, I love the way Tulsi went after Kamala, what she needed to do. And I love this whole thing. She understands who the enemy is. She understands who's taking a lot of those votes. She went in and got in there and really disrupted her. And I like the fact that she didn't have to do it on foreign policy. She was able to do it right out of the gate when it came to criminal justice. She went right after her, and I thought that was great. However, maybe she could have made more of a statement when she closed, but she is the overall winner for me today, again, because she just stands out like nobody's else. And she defended off the attack question, I thought was great, and the Off Fossil Fuels Act that she got to speak about and say, hey, listen, yeah, I didn't stand behind the Green New Deal. It might sound popular to stand behind that with all the progressives and all these liberals, but I have my own act, and it's more realistic. The big losers of the night, I think Joe Biden was terrible again today. And in the middle, I'm going to say Andrew Yang was kind of right there, where he kind of got some noise, but he didn't make a big punch. So the rest of the field just needs to go away. But Tulsi number 1, Yang number 2 today, and the big loser is Joe Biden, and a little bit dings to Kamala Harris.
Okay, so I agree with Pasta 100%. I think Tulsi going after Kamala Harris was a huge deal. It not only helped her, but it also helped Bernie Sanders because it exposes her record, because she is such a big threat to Bernie Sanders. So again, Tulsi Gabbard. And then I think I would say Julian Castro did pretty well for himself by staying inside, not kind of going too far off to attracting attention to himself, but actually focusing on the immigration issue and going after the more establishment candidates like Joe Biden. I think then after that, I would say Kirsten Gillibrand, who actually attacked Joe Biden. And then because of her attacks on Joe Biden, I would say Joe Biden went after that I would say he actually probably was the loser. That was his one moment where he actually attacked her back, that he actually did something. But I would say in that order, Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, Kirsten Gillibrand, and then I would probably put, Julian Castro, then Kirsten Gillibrand, and then the worst ones I would put would be Joe Biden at the bottom. And then in the middle, I would say Inslee, who had the climate change thing, but that's outside of that, he didn't really expand. So,
and when I say this, quick disclaimer, when I say this, I am speaking strictly from a debate standpoint, not who I'm a fan of. But I would say, because I would say that the first place would go to Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi had a good showing, but a close second place, I would give to Kirsten Gillibrand. She was on point pretty much every time she spoke. She had some good moments. She unpacked her own story well, and she had a few nice singers there. So again, speaking strictly from a debate standpoint, she had a pretty good showing. I mean, she had a pretty good showing, and she single-handedly, which I'll pat her on the back for this. I'm not a big fan of hers, but she ended Bill de Blasio's campaign.
That's why you love her. Let's be honest.
I don't love her. I would never use the word love to describe any politician.
That's why you liked her tonight.
I thought she did well tonight.
Yes.
That's all. I thought she did well tonight. I don't last debate, I didn't think she'd do that great. But I think she came in a very close second. And the only reason it was a close second was because, again, I think Tulsi kind of floundered a closer a little bit. I was a little let down by her closer. I think that de Blasio was the biggest loser. I think he's done. I think
so.
I think he is done.
So.
I think Kirsten Gillibrand just ended him. I think he's done. I think Biden second to last. I think Biden is also done. The establishment's going to drift away from Biden, just like Biden is drifting away from a picnic area, and someone says, "Go find Uncle Joe. We think he's lost." But I think that Andrew Yang maybe was about fourth, and in fairness to him, again, they barely gave the guy any speaking time.
Yeah.
He did a lot better than he did in the first debate. I think he was prepared. I think he was prepared to know, I'm going to have to fight for every word I get, so I better make the most of it. He was prepared. He did give, in my opinion, the best closing statement. So I think Yang had a pretty solid showing. I would say he's about third or fourth. And then, Cory Booker had a couple okay talking points that were just, parroted platitude nothings. He stayed awake throughout the entire thing. Remembered that he was, in fact, running for president.
He stayed awake.
So he didn't finish last, but it was close to last. Overall, I thought that the debate, after a little while, became incredibly uninspiring, especially when they were talking about Russia and Butch. Trump's bad. Overall, I think it could have been a lot shorter with moderators that actually knew how to do their job. Yeah. Not that that's a thing over at CNN. I think we saw it became very clear Kamala is the anointed one. And, yeah.
You know who else did good tonight we didn't mention? Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Bernie Sanders did great tonight because, once again, pushing his policies.
Let's be real here.
Yeah, and somebody else who did bad that we didn't mention, too? CNN. Did horrible, awful.
I mean,
just a terrible debate. Really, I mean, you guys.
They did exactly.
Stink.
Yeah.
Are we surprised?
I left the bar on the floor for them, and they did not disappoint me.
Yeah.
They kept the bar.
They got under it, and it was laying on the floor. And
yeah.
that's not even possible.
Yeah. All right. So do we have any?
No, we don't have any more super chats. Let's take one last look. But I am feeling a placone, and I know you normally don't do the placone anymore. Maybe they could have some soy pepperoni over there tonight, and we could get it going. There are no more super chats.
Larry.
We said hi to Larry Messer before. We said, "Oh, you had a spike. Is that a Tulsi Gabbard spike?"
So there's a spike in Google Trends.
Oh, really?
Nice.
So when Kamala Harris got called out by Tulsi, what were people Googling? Were they Googling Tulsi or Googling her? They were Googling both. So they wanted to... You know why? Keep in mind, sometimes Google searches aren't always a good thing because it could have been she called her out for something.
Yes,
so
and they
people
went to research it.
What the hell is this all about?
Yep.
That's why, like that Bullock guy, that guy from Montana last night, he probably saw a spike in his Google because people were wondering who the hell is this guy.
That's why it's up to us
Who is
to
that guy?
let people know. Like she's calling her out on truthful things that can be verified via any sort
You
of
have a video?
receipt and record. Yeah, there are multiple videos.
Where can somebody find a video
on
about
the
all?
Convo Couch YouTube?
Go to the Convo Couch YouTube, guys.
Also, I will be releasing a series of tweets, by the way,
Yes.
on Kamala Harris's.
So follow everybody. You see everyone's Twitter handle. Follow all of us on Twitter. Go check out the Convo Couch on YouTube. This is Ron Placone on YouTube. Get Your News On with Ron. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time for Get Your News On with Ron stream, where you guys tweet me what you want to talk about, and that's how we build the show. We'll be doing more debate-type stuff together. This was a lot of fun. And until then, peace. Shout out to Johnny for running it on the
Johnny
1 2 on a Twitch stream and a
Castro.
YouTube stream.
There it is.
We are all hot here because the AC is not on. We're going to go get some food.
All
Thank you
right,
so much,
guys.
guys.
Thank you so
Peace,
much.
everybody.
You were
Peace.
awesome.
Lucy says meow. I say peace.
Lucy is a communist.